What is up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of The Real Build. I'm your host, Bill Ryman, your broker builder. And today I get another solo episode coming to you. Today I wanted to talk about something I haven't I've touched on a little bit here and there, but I actually wanted to make a three-part series of actually what to do when building a custom home. So this is going to be a three-part series. Today I'm going to brush on just kind of the initial process before the build, what you should expect as the customer, as the client, what you need to look for in a builder, so on. So once again, three-part series on what to do when building a custom home. That's what we're getting into today, and it's a very important topic, and I thought I would break this thing up so I don't rush on it. Obviously this three-part series is going to come in different times because I'm going to put some interviews in between like I always do, because as you guys know, I don't do usually do back-to-back solo episodes all the time. I have a few interviews coming up as well, with some great construction professionals and real estate professionals as well. So with that being said, guys, obviously, you know the routine. I don't ask for anything on this show. This show is completely free, just here to give you guys a 100% value, just here to help you as much as I can with my knowledge of construction and real estate, bring on some great guests for you. So, all I ask is that you share this with your friends and family. Also, you like, subscribe on YouTube, just continue to share, spread the word about this podcast. I'm coming up on actually 100 episodes here. Can't believe I've already made it to the 100 mark. That's crazy, after a couple of years of doing this. So I really appreciate all that continuously listen to this show. Been having a couple issues with iTunes, so maybe some of you guys have noticed if you search the podcast, it hasn't been coming up. I think that's an issue with the host that I use, so I may be switching some things up. Also switched the category that I'm in as well. So I don't know if that had some things to do with it. So just wanted to kind of update you if you're searching for this podcast. You may not be finding it on iTunes for that reason. I already reached out to my host. They said they've been having some link issues with iTunes lately. So hopefully that squares itself or gets squared away here shortly, because iTunes is the number one podcast platform people are listening at. So I really would like my show to come up in the search. But anyway, with that being said, guys, thank you all for listening. Let's get started real quick. This is going to be a quicker episode. Just want to cover these topics of what you need to look for before the build. So this is pre-build. This is when you're looking for a builder. This is during the beginning stages with if you do decide on a builder. So here are some major things. So, and these are kind of in order, but not really. So, I mean, I just kind of wrote them out, and these were on the top of my mind, kind of my process of what and advice I kind of give. So, if you have any other recommendations, reach out to me. Or if you have any questions, feel free to reach out to me too on any social media platform. You guys could find me. It's Bill Ryman. I'm Bill Ryman on Instagram, Bill Ryman everywhere else, Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube. So feel free to message me, reach out, email me, whatever. I am happy to help all you guys. And once again, appreciate you. So, first thing, before the build, one thing I always talk about that, and I've actually seen this a few times, is financing. So a lot of people right now, interest rates are still really low, so they're also getting construction loans too. Now, a lot of banks aren't doing construction ground up loans, but there are specific banks that are. I'm working with quite a few of them. Now, this is a process. So, my recommendation is to get this started ahead of hand prior to going to your builder. Now, some of the banks are going to require a plan, a full set of plans, and they're also going to require a builder's contract. But at least you can get the initial process started on this, because the initial process is usually a lot of legwork and a lot of paperwork. Those of you guys that have worked with banks in the past, you guys know, especially if you're refinancing or financing a home or whatever, they want an arm and a leg. So get this done as much as possible, as soon as possible. I highly recommend talking to, if whatever builder you're talking to, I'm sure they know a specific bank they've worked with in the past that they recommend that went smooth, because that's going to have to commingle itself too, as the builder is going to have to have a relationship with the bank. So you're going to want them, the builder's kind of recommendation on it, and somebody they work well with, so everything goes smoothly. So look at your financing prior. It's just starting there. Next thing is lot selection. Now, I've talked about this on past podcasts, how important lot selecting the perfect lot is. Now, me personally, Bill Ryman, your broker builder, so I'm also a real estate broker. I help a lot of clients with selecting dirt. The reason they use me to help them select dirt, whether they build with me or not, is because they know my construction background. That is very important in selecting a lot, because there's many factors in selecting dirt, especially where I'm at here in Southwest Florida. Other places are different. I'm only speaking where I'm at right now. I'm sure there's a lot of connection here, but you got to look at a lot of factors like the dirt. How much fill is there? How much needs to be brought in prior to construction? How much are on average are you going to have to pay during the construction process, and so on. Also, seawalls where I'm at. Is the seawall in good condition? Does it need to be replaced? Also, setbacks, so on. Is there any issues? Is there any issues with the neighboring homes? How is the lot an odd shaped lot? How customized does the floor plan need to be for that specific lot, which could add costs to the build as well? Are there animals on the lot that are endangered? You need to get an we call it, it's FWC down here, Florida Wildlife is down here, but in other areas there's different things. But are they going to have to get involved in removing a certain animal? Here we have owls and we have turtles. So if they're nesting, you cannot touch the property until they are done nesting. So there's all these different factors that you should look at prior to selecting a lot. Now, you can do this prior to your builder, but I do recommend that you either use somebody experienced in the construction industry like myself to find that lot prior, or you can find it, but in the process of finding it, I would kind of have your builder in mind. And if there's a builder willing, before you commit 100% to them, to help you find a lot or give you advice on a lot, that's probably a good builder. And I would probably keep going that direction, because, the guy that's going to tell you they don't have time to kind of give you their opinion on an empty lot or a piece of dirt, that's a builder. You probably, the builder should give you all time, all eyes, all everything is on you. They should want your business and do whatever it takes to get your business. So that's one thing to kind of look at as far as that on the lot selection. So just kind of plan ahead on that. And the sooner you can kind of get a builder involved in that process, the better. Another thing I always talk about is budget. Budget's huge. So uh, everybody has a budget, and we all go into, I always ask everybody kind of going into the build process, what is your budget, so on, because I like to ask them off from the beginning to get a feel if I can even take on the project, because obviously your time's important, so is mine. Time is our most valuable thing. I don't want to waste your time if I can't do it because your budget's way lower than what I can handle. I just tell people right off the bat. So budget is important. Have one in mind, but you got to start with the lot. So how much is it going to be with the lot, and then you go into the home price too. So these two things combined, let's say you have $1 million budget total here, and that's probably only going to give you 300,000 for not even any more. I mean, prices have gone up around here and things have gone a little crazy, but just as an example, you know, so you had $300,000 lot for a waterfront lot, then the rest is for, 700,000 to build a house. Okay. Now, you need to add a little bit more, always plan on adding a little bit more to that budget, and having a little more spend and a little more leeway, because things fluctuate. You never know, you may make a selection that's going to be over your budget on certain tile and so on. Most builders can kind of estimate to going into a project. What I actually do is I actually take the time to I'll somebody will commit to us, we'll get a deposit, and then I we go to planning. As soon as I get some plans done, I start getting estimates right away just so I can have a good ballpark number of where they're going to be to make the customer comfortable and so on. Obviously, prices fluctuate, especially in the market we're in now. So there's no real locks, but I'm trying to lock as much as I possibly can for the customer to give them a good idea of price, but customers should go into it with certain appliances, what they think as far as a budget there, plumbing fixtures, lighting, cabinetry, you name it. You should have something in mind. Do your research as much as possible. Have your due diligence ready. The more information you have going to a builder, the better. I've spoke about this plenty of times on other podcasts, but the more knowledge you have, the easier and better the process is going to be for yourself. So just plan on that. Floor plans. So have an idea, get ideas of what exactly you want to build, have ideas in mind. I mean, there's so many floor plans you could find online right now, Pinterest, all these different areas. You can go on different architects websites, just get general ideas of floor plans. You can, and that's the thing though too, you can get certain ideas, certain elements of each floor plan that you like, and then going to a custom builder like myself, you take those ideas, say, hey, I like this master. Hey, I like this great room. This kitchen is perfect. This bathroom is perfect. And then we take those elements and we put them all together for you into a plan with our architects. And then we kind of go back and forth and make it perfect for you and exactly the way you want it. So, do your research on floor plans as much as possible prior to going into it so you have a good idea. And this is with custom homes because there's a lot of the kind of production home builders that just have set floor plans. You can't really go off of any of them. But with us, as a custom builder, I like to get a good idea of what you're looking for. I have floor plans too as a builder. I send them to potential customers that are moving forward with us in the process so they can get good ideas and they say yay or nay. I'm doing that. I got a call with my architect and a client tomorrow. They had an original floor plan. I personally looked at it. That needs a lot of tweaking. I sent them a couple other ones that were similar that we've done in the past, just with things altered and rearranged. And we're going to have a full call tomorrow, kind of getting their ideas, their wants, their needs, writing them down, getting as much info as possible. That's what your builder should be doing. It's all about communication, but it's all about listening too. I'm here, you're paying me, you're paying us at RK Ryman Construction to do what you want, listen to you, and just hear you guys out and get exactly what you want built for you so that we can do your dream home. So think about that going into it. Another thing you can kind of do is drive around. There's a lot of builders. Some builders don't have them, but there's a lot of builders that have model homes too. There's also builders that have built new spec homes. You can walk through spec homes, get ideas, tell your realtor to or get a realtor to let you in, call the realtor, sign on the front, whatever you got to do. Just parade of homes is another thing. Each city, I'm pretty sure, has a parade of homes that you can attend and check out some of the new modern builds of what's going on in the building world there. There's awards for builders like Sand Dollar and so on. You can check those out. Portfolios, look at portfolios. But just look at homes, get ideas. Pinterest, house. Pinterest is huge. I don't know how many Pinterest pictures I see every week about certain ideas that my customers want, but we can bring those ideas to life. They're good starting points. I give them to my architect. He can draw something out and put it in CAD and get us all the dimensions, and we get a client approval on it. So just do your research that way. Really look into this stuff, guys. It's stuff that's so important in the pre-planning process. The more info you have, the better. So where as much info you can have right from the beginning, that's going to really give the builder a good idea of where you want to be, where you're going to be on price, and it just helps tremendously as far as the process and moving things forward too, without a lot of questions. So do your due diligence as much as possible. Not a lot of people do it, believe it or not, because they don't know, but that's why I'm here to kind of explain this to you and kind of help you and guide you along your build journey. So Another thing, next step too, that I highly, highly recommend. So when you're interviewing builders, meet the team, meet who's part of that builder's team, who's part of who works for them, who works with them. You don't have to meet the subcontractors because you're probably not going to meet any of them in person, but I'm talking about the people that work in house, who's doing the billing, who's doing their selections. And I'm more towards, this is more custom home builders, but every builder has a team. They have people working for them. So meet those people, see if you mesh with them, see if you click with them, because that's such an important thing in construction, is that you're meshing with these people. You're because it's a long process. Think about it. I mean, down here, it's obviously different up north. You guys have heard in my podcast that, we're doing some of these 4,000 plus square foot houses that are taking 16 months, 18 months, sometimes 20 months for something even bigger. How much customization goes into them, it just all depends, but it's a long process. So if you're in this long process, you're going to want to get along well with whoever you're working with, correct? I mean, off the bat, I'm talking to you, I'm meeting with you, I'm kind of in the you're with me the whole process, but you also have to get along with the girl that does our selections. You also have to get along with the girl that does our billing, because you're going to be talking to these people throughout this process. And if you don't get along with them, it's probably not going to go as smoothly and as joyful as you wanted to be. And it is a long process. It's a very expensive process, and you want everybody to be on the same page. So meet the team, meet the people, and then from there, ask the right questions. What's the timeline? Let's go into timeline. You need to ask the builder about a rough timeline. Like, for example, if I say 18 months to build a home, you need to know when things are going to be made, when you're going to have to come into town to do these certain things. We're very seasonal down here where I'm at. People aren't really year round. So we have to schedule ahead. The girl that's doing our selections has to schedule ahead to, make sure flights are going to be okay, make sure that everybody's going to be able to have time to sit down. The vendors are going to be have time to sit down, and make sure that these time frames are correct to where we can get materials on time as the builder as well. So you want to go through all the timelines, make sure the timelines all work for each other, they work together, everybody's on the same page, because every step matters throughout the build process, especially when building a luxury custom home. You don't want to miss any details. You don't want to have something little can end up being major. So everybody needs to be on the same page, talk timeline, figure out and communicate when and where and how things are going to happen. So that was a big one right there too. Architecture and design. This is huge. Now, architecture and design is very important, because a custom builder has certain architects they work with, certain interior designers they work with too. But that's what goes back to the team that I talked about. So I have a certain architect I really enjoy working with. We both click. We're both on the same page. He's constantly knocks it out of the park as far as design and my ideas, in loves hearing my insight on stuff, and it's part of that process too. I work with the architect, and we both work with the client. It delivers a better experience to the client, giving information, helping the client as much as possible to give good general ideas of floor plan and so on, just so the client has a better secure feeling of that overall build and end result. So that's important. Also, interior design firms. I've said this in past podcasts, we work with a full on interior design firm. They do everything from start to finish. They are involved in the planning process as well. So, right there is three different people, including the client, that is involved in the planning process. So, three different eyes are on it, three different opinions, and that helps. And that gives the client more security as well, and more peace of mind as far as building the house. Also, the designer, you're going to want them on the same page as you and the people in the office, so they know how our general process is done as well. So, this going over this with the client, kind of explaining your process, your team, who you work with, the architects, the designers who you work with, if they want to hire the designer too, and how you mesh together, and how it helps deliver a better experience, turnkey experience, where the customer does not really have to stress about anything. is so huge too. And that's one thing I've really implemented as a custom builder is just getting the right people involved, finding those right pieces to build our team and make us, that one go-to builder in my general area. Soon to be one day, hopefully in the whole entire state of Florida. That's a long-term goal. But you guys hear it now. Hopefully you'll, not hopefully, but you will see me as one of the go-to luxury builders in this state. So that's a long-term goal. But anyway, back to it. Know what you are getting. So this is important too. So throughout the initial process, you're obviously going through plans. Let's say we got plans done and so on, and we're ready to keep moving forward. What I actually do, and I've explained this in the past as well, but we're getting more into detail, is a general features list explaining room by room, material by material, step by step, every single little thing going into that house. So there's no questions asked, never any arguments. Everybody's on the same page. That client basically has to accept that feature sheet, sign off on it, and so on. We go back and forth through it a couple times. Me and the clients have meetings about them. Really pinpoint those down because they are like our Bible throughout that process, making sure everything is the way it should be going, and we're all on the same page in the process. Also have software, that's another thing too, along with the features, so clients can log into the software, have a general idea about the process, the stage we're at. Pictures are uploaded on there, email communication is all on there as well. Also, they can, comment, they can make their comments on certain photos and so on. So it keeps everybody in tune. But the general feature sheet is huge. This is the pre-build. More of the software stuff during the build. We'll get to that on the next part of this. But, having that initial feature sheet, getting everybody on the same page, signing that before you even go to contract, that is huge. It's a very important thing. Just knowing, know what exactly you are getting in your build, because there's so many question marks all the time. And I hear it and I see it. People message me all the time saying, "Hey man, can you look at this for me?" This builder's saying, "Here, I read the thing." They're getting chintzy appliance allowances. It's missing a ton of different stuff. You're not getting fans. You're not getting lights. You're not getting certain things. It just makes no sense. But a lot of people that don't know this, they miss these little things, these little details that actually matter. What kind of insulation are you getting? What's behind the walls? What are they putting behind the walls? Look at this stuff. What are you getting in the overall build of your house? And this is what you should be researching, asking these questions to your builder. I've repeatedly said this on this show too, how important this is, because it's not about cost. I've said this a million times too. The lowest price isn't always the best price, because they can undercut, and get that price down. But in the long run, you end up paying more. It's almost a guarantee every single time. So just think about that. Read exactly what you're getting prior to signing that dotted line, and then move forward, which goes into my next thing, which is contracts. Review the contracts. Read the contract personally by yourself multiple times. Read through it. Make sure you're covered as much as possible. Obviously, the builder's going to be covered as well, but just make sure there's not any things that are kind of odd and weird and out of the ordinary that you're not getting covered on. But highly recommend send the contract to a local attorney. Local is the key word there. Do not take it to your out of state attorney. If you were somebody from a different state and you have an attorney, let's say you're from California or building in Florida, our laws are completely different. Your California attorney is going to butcher my Florida contract, and I'm probably just going to tell you I'm not changing anything. So make sure you have a local attorney, preferably to that general area, because county codes can be different as well, or are mostly different as well. I know our codes down here in Southwest Florida are pretty similar to Miami-Dade County's codes, but up northern, the more north you go in Florida, things change. So just hire a local attorney, have them review, make sure there's no blind spots in the contract, make sure there's nothing missing, make sure you're covered. And then last but not least, once you get past the contract, you get that signed, then you enter the next stages of the process. How much deposit are you going to make? Have that all up front. know where that money is going. Make sure you're on the same page as any other payments that may be coming up. But the next part is probably the permitting process. So how do they go about that? How long does it take? How much legwork is there? Just know that process. How long are you going to be in for permit for? Going back to any kind of animals or anything, is there any animals that need removal prior to building as well? So hire a good environmentalist. So your builder should know all these things and kind of guide you and help you of what direction you need to go in this process prior to building, because they're going to want to get started as soon as possible. I mean, if they're a good builder, they're going to want to, and they're going to want to get the house done, at a good rate as soon as possible too, because that's how we personally get paid. So anyway, so the permitting process, you're gonna really learn as far as how long that is going to take. And there's not much you do there. Not as with us, you don't really, we handle all the permitting paperwork and so on. You probably have to sign something, which you'll hear from the girl in our office too, as far as what's on those steps as well. So but from there, once we get permit, then we start the build process, and that is where I'm going to stop today. I wanted to make this one a short one. I didn't want to go long on this, so I'm going to segment this. So next one will be what to do when building a custom home part 2, and that'll be the build process. I'm doing 3-part series like I told you guys. So I'll do this one today was before the build, then we're going to do during the build, and then we'll do after the build, and we'll get more into detail on this. Guys, if you have any questions about anything, please reach out to me. Also, please comment on iTunes. Hopefully, I know if you guys are subscribed already to this podcast, you'll be able to see it. Just write me a comment, 5-star review this show. I really appreciate you guys too. Message me too if there's any topics that you want me to cover on this show, something that you're going through in your construction or something you're going through on a real estate venture or whatever you're dealing with. I'm happy to hear from you. Just message me, reach out to me anytime. Don't ever hesitate, because I want to try and cover as much as possible. And I probably still haven't, there's so much to this business to cover. And there's things I'm trying to hit, even little details, that, should be covered, that somebody might be thinking of that, other people may not be. So always feel free to reach out to me. Like I said, 5-star review this show. I really appreciate all you guys listening to this one. Thank you. Next week, I'll come back with another interview, and I will see you guys on the next episode.